Hello, thank you very much for clicking on this email and giving me your valuable time at this peculiar time.
I hope you're enjoying the content we're making. Have you noticed that the YouTube videos have been a bit more political? How could they not be? But I hope they're maintaining a spiritual perspective, and we are endeavouring, me and the people that are working for us, to make them funnier. We've got more people working here now. My mate Gareth, who I always worked with, if you listen to the radio shows I've done or even watched the MTV shows way back when he was there. Annabelle, she's working here again. Jen is behind the camera as always, doing the bare minimum possible to cling on to her job. Charlie's over there organising things, and Dear Demaya, who helps with the Zoom calls. Those of you that came onto the last Zoom call, thank you. We raised money for the Alexander Devine Children's Hospice. I think that's is it in Reading or Slough? It's sort of in Bucks somewhere, isn't it? Anyway, we raised some money for them, and they're incredibly grateful, and it was very heartening and beautiful to speak to the woman there that ran it, because you get a sense of the reality of working in that kind of environment. Our next call will be on Thursday, the 21st of January at 5 p.m. We'll charge you £5, or maybe it should be 5, whatever your currency is. I mean, I don't know how we do this. We're getting into international markets, $5, £5, 5, whatever it is. Anyway, but what we're going to raise money for is Nick Hayes, who was a guest on our Luminary podcast, Under the Skin, and Right to Roam, who are campaigning to extend the Countryside and Rights of Way Act in England so that millions more people can have easy access to open space, physical, mental and spiritual health benefits that are brought by that are obviously what's driving that. I missed a word out earlier in that sentence, so I had to reconfigure the sentence as I was going. But essentially it's for Right to Roam. Did you know 97% of the British waterways are covered by trespass laws? That means you can't access them. 93% of the British English countryside inaccessible. Listen to the podcast with Nick if you want to know more about it, but we're going to raise money. £5, you'll be able to join the call, talk to me. I'll probably get Nick to come on it for some of it, for the first 10 minutes or something like that. Maybe, I don't know, I'll ask him. And pay special attention to the time zones, but it's going to be 21st of January, 5 p.m. GMT. You look at what it is, where you live. Here's some questions and stuff so that this email has valuable content. We're working really hard at the moment. We're changing everything we do. We're trying to remain engaged, and we're trying to make this, what we do, the content, valuable to you. So remember to let us know the kind of thing you want more of, the kind of thing that would really, really help you individually. For example, here's a question from Adam that we're answering, and I'm asking it on his behalf right now, unless you want to read it, Jen.
I don't know.
Go on then.
Oh, so long.
What did you expect?
Like a sentence.
Not with Adam.
I find myself quarantined with my lovely family and fear.
Oh, you can do you think there's another mic?
It's this one. Imagine conducting an interview like
You can do that.
Oh, I find myself quarantined with my lovely family and feeling lonely most of the time. I have a family, very few friends and colleagues like most people. I'm not sure why I feel lonely all the time despite this. I think to a degree everyone feels like the star of their own show, and this can make us feel as if others are the extras. The biggest question for me is, how do you find someone that really understands you?
Sure. Great questions there, mate. Adam, great questions, Adam. Oops, sorry about this. Let's get that back on. Well, Adam, I feel you, man. Loneliness, I think, can only really be addressed by journeying within and meditating. Sometimes, there's the sort of cliche of feeling alone in a crowded room, and there's also the sort of reality of actual sort of solitariness, being in solitude. In any event, what we can look for through prayer and meditation is a deep connection to see what loneliness, I believe, is really. Of course, we're social animals, and we need, to see other people's faces and feel other people and have those kind of pheromonal animal connections with people that are probably hard for us to even quantify, understand in our materialistic, rationalist age. But also what we need is a deep, deep connection within ourselves, and to nature. This is why that Right for Roam thing is important. Perhaps you need to spend some time, if you have time, in nature. And certainly you should consider looking at some of our meditation stuff. It's been advised here. Have you subscribed to my YouTube channel? There's lots of great content, including, that's not an answer to that question that I've got to come up with. I thought that was a suggestion of how to answer it. That's just some new promo. You might want to look at some of the meditation stuff that I've done. On Luminary, I'm doing more meditation content now. And what I feel like you need to do, mate, is whether it's my content or anybody's, is focus on meditation and focus on connection. What you are identifying as loneliness, I think might be a lack of connection. I notice it in myself sometimes. I disconnect, and instead of doing things that engage me, I do things that are numbing. I pursue numbing activities. staring at this being one thing, watching TV. Like the amount of time the screen is in front of my eyes is terrifying, I sometimes think. So we close our eyes and we go within, and we put down the phone and we go out. These are the two things that I think will address you. I hope you get the chance to update us, mate. So now there's the bit of promo that I've started to use as an answer. Go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to it. There's loads of great content on there. We're doing really interesting political stuff at the moment, stuff around like food, exploitation in the pandemic, the madness that's going on in America. And Jesse has asked for more funny videos. We are going to do more funny videos, Jesse. We've got to do more funny stuff. I'm a comedian. Were it not for comedy, the gift of comedy, where would we be? Where would I be? So yeah, we'll do more. Here's another question, Alicia. I'm 36 years old. My mother took her life when she was 36. I was 11. That's heavy, mate. There are many alcoholics and recovering addicts in my family. So my question is, do you believe in mental illness as an actual malfunction of neurotransmitters or a chemical imbalance in the brain, or do you see it as a symptom of cultural or social constructs? You should look at Adam Alter's work. He came on our podcast once and he said when they analysed addiction data, I'm a 12-step guy, so I believe that there is a sort of a genetic or inherent component to addiction, because that's what my 12-step philosophy says. You know, it's in us. We're addicts. We all act addictively around chocolate or sex or, you know, drugs and alcohol, merely the outliers and the most observable problems around addiction, but behavioural addictions will come in prior to or subsequent to chemical dependency. So that's the idea. Like, so part of what I believe is that it's inherent. But Adam Alter in his books, and there's obviously lots of evidence to support this, says that addiction is environmental, that is i.e. a social construct. And a lot of people think that the opioid crisis is increasing, yes, because of the availability of these new pharmaceutical synthesized opioids, but also other people think that it's because bloody there's a lot of social despair. So I feel both things, and in any event, you know what the solution is. The solution is connection. And just because your mother took her own life, and God rest her soul, when she was 36 years old and you were 11, that's great trauma. I feel like that this wound is something you obviously have to accept, and you have to be very present to and present with, and to feel and remain awake to. But it is not your destiny. I don't know if you have a family, but I know you're a person that is loved, and that you have to, while you feel these things, while it's particularly present in your life because of your age and the age that your mother took her own life, this is a time for investigation and deepening of your spiritual practice, a deepening of your awareness. You know, it ain't inevitable. That's what I mean. My belief is that addiction has to either be met with a conscious spiritual program or by acting out on that addiction. So look at the areas in your life where you are behaving in a way that you don't want to, and by that I mean ways that are destructive to you or destructive to others, and enhance and deepen your spiritual practice. And good luck to you, and we're with you. Well done. Hey, what about Under the Skin? If you listen to some of the good people that's been on it, Annie Lennox, Tristan Harris, Nick Hayes. Annie Lennox, obviously from the Eurythmics, she was wonderful and so awake and beautiful. Tristan Harris, the brilliant investigator of sort of the power of big tech and the way that it can be challenged and altered, reformed really, I suppose. Nick Hayes, who talks about trespass and the way that the land is owned and how we can gain more freedom individually through trespass. And also Ask Me Anything, where I answered a big bunch of questions. Upcoming guests include... Why are you laughing at that, Jen?
It was a good summary of the episode. A big bunch of questions.
I answered a big bunch of questions. How would you have said it?
I answered your questions.
I answered your questions.
Did you listen to it?
Did you listen to it?
I put a musical bed in.
I put a musical bed in. Did you listen? I put a musical bed in. What's the musical bed like?
It's really nice.
Mimic it.
No, it's like chill. No, what is it? Lo-fi chill hop beats.
Lo-fi chill hot beats. Can't you do an impression of it? Is it like this? Oh yeah. I know what it's like. Yeah.
You would hate if that was underneath your voice.
I would hate if that was underneath my voice.
No, it doesn't.
Could it be like Delilah? Delilah! I've been doing the Tom Jones impression a lot lately, and I think. Why not? Why not do a Tom Jones impression? And listen to it. Why, Delilah? It makes you feel very... People are giving me some strange... There's nothing wrong with doing a Tom Jones impression. My wife's out there. Why don't you come in here? She don't want to come in here. Anyway, look, I don't know why I'm saying this, actually. Why am I saying this?
You wanted us a musical bed for Ask Me Anything.
Oh yeah, there's a musical bit for Ask Me Anything. Sadly, not Tom Jones. Listen, coming up on Under the Skin, we've got Edith Eger, Holocaust survivor, philosopher, and I'm very excited to speak with her. Jonathan Haidt, you know who that is, do you? And how would you describe Jonathan Haidt? What, by inhaling phrases and looking off to the side? That's how you describe him.
He's not a sociologist, is he? But he does,
He's
the
not a
research.
sociologist. Well, that could be describing Ronald
I feel
McDonald.
like he's like a Brené Brown, but...
He's like a Brené Brown?
My focus
Is he that cuddly?
No, more...
Do you think cuddly's a weird way to describe Brené
Yeah.
Brown? But if you think of her name, Brené Brown, cuddly, and if you think of her thing on Netflix, how warm and kind she is, cuddly, and so don't you think she has strong, South, maternal, matriarchal
I'd probably bow
woman?
to her.
You'd bow?
Yeah.
I'd bow, but I'd hope that during the bow she'd go, "Oh, come here."
Yeah.
Is that what you'd hope?
I'm not as...
You're not bothered, don't you?
Yeah.
You're not that physical, are you?
No.
Fair enough. Why are not?
I don't know.
Also, Nick Ortner, who teaches you tapping. Tapping's so good for your mental health. You're going to love the old tappity tap tap tap. Tappity tap. Have you done any tapping?
No.
Do some tapping. You can have free access to the app. His app, Tapping Solutions, he'll give you free access. And probably some of you if you ask nicely. Philippa Perry, the artist, psychiatrist, psychologist. But she is also an artist because I've seen her with Grayson Perry, who's her husband, doing arty things on the telly. All right, and also there's going to be loads more content from Luminary, so please do consider subscribing to it if you can afford it. I hope you can. Maybe we should do some scholarships, some free Luminaries. Can we do that? Can we ask?
Can I ask?
Can I only ask, can't you? I could give some, I'd pay myself, couldn't I? I
Yeah.
could pay. No one could stop me doing that. Well, if you can't afford, ask via this. Christopher asks, I'm an alcoholic in recovery. I am prescribed antidepressants and antipsychotics. Can I find the spirit within when taking this medication? I suppose you can. If you're taking medication prescribed by a professional and you trust that professional, me, in the recovery community, we have no opinion on what a doctor prescribed. Me, personally, I would always be trying to see what would happen if I was reducing meds, but I would never do that without the advice of a medical expert. And yes, the answer is yes, you will find the spirit within. Meditate, pray, do everything that is suggested. Sam Leonard, how do you gain the mental power to force positive change within yourself? It's not power, it's surrender, although there is some power to that. This year in particular has taken a lot of motivation and energy from me. I know the steps I need to get the job I want, but the journey is long. I'd appreciate some words of wisdom to push me forward. Look at it, like you've got to, mate, spend some time with yourself. Let go somewhat of your will. You've got to engage mentors in your life. Find some people you can talk to and trust. Look at the landscape of who you are. Look at what is to your detriment, what is draining your energy, what relationships, friendships. Perhaps create an index. Patrick Cairns, the 12-step expert, designed this, the personal crazy index. He'd look at all areas of his life. You know, of course, he'd look at work and relationships, but then he'd look at subtler things like the state of his car. And then, I think it was Patrick Cairns, I'm attributing all this to him, and then give yourself a 1 to 10 score in all these areas, like, is the car good? Is your personal health and exercise good? Is your hygiene good? Did you clean your teeth today? You know, think of 10 categories. Big ones like relationship, job, little ones like, is your car tidy? How's your, what's your hygiene routine like? Give yourself a score of 1 to 10 in all these areas. If your score is sort of below 50%, then your life's in a little bit of trouble. You need to look at where you can make improvements by the application of the 12 steps, i.e. admit there's a problem, believe it's possible to change, ask for help and make that change, then do inventories and follow the rest of that process in the area where appropriate. So if your intention is to realise yourself through your work, through your mission, examine your vocation, examine what you want. I hope that's of some use to you, mate. But the fact is there are no quick fixes. This is a lifelong practice, a discipleship, a discipline, something that we all have to undertake together. Hope my outfit's okay for you. I went for a walk. On the walk I found this thing. I'm thinking of using it for a bit of art. I'm thinking of using it to mount that memory card that Bear ate, and then I could make a bit of art using it, couldn't I? Let's all make art together like my wife at the Joy Journal does. She's an artist. Anyway, thanks. I hope you've enjoyed these. Stay in touch with us. Subscribe. Well, you do subscribe. There's nothing else I can ask of you, can I? Thank you. See you on the Zoom call.